Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday, and welcome to episode 80 of the On Air Advocate. We're at the On Air Advocate. We look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate, and I am super excited that you guys are joining us here this Wednesday morning, or whether you are catching this on the replay. I thank you very much. Now, if for any reason you think that this could be relevant for any friends, family, or people within your network, please hit the share button, share this content in the love with others. Now today, this is episode 80 special edition of the On Air Advocate, and we are joined today by a team at St. Coletta of Wisconsin. So the ladies we have here today with us is Nicole. She is the Director of Case Management Services over at St. Coletta. Hi, Nicole.
Good morning.
We also have Elizabeth. She is the Director of Day Programs for St. Coletta as well.
Hi.
Hey. And then we have Liz, who is the Director of Residential Operations over at St. Coletta. So I'm so excited to have you ladies here this morning and chatting with us. And thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us.
Now, to kind of get started, St. Coletta, for many who don't know, has such a history behind it. And so, Liz, can you take that away with, going through a little bit of that history to let our viewers know the background about St. Coletta?
Sure. So we actually began in 1904. We were founded by the Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi. We recently just celebrated our 114th anniversary with a foundation celebration. So we've been around for a long time. Started as a school program. Basically, the sisters were educators. When the first students came, they really kind of created the program from the ground up as far as how to best serve folks with disabilities and other challenges. And really, from what they did, they were kind of the core founders of the curriculum that a lot of the school programs and things use today. So we were a full school program until about the 1990s. And then at that point in time, when the public school system started to do more with special education, we started to transition a little bit more into community programs. And so we no longer have our school program. However, we do serve adults 18 and older in both residential, vocational, and day program services throughout both Illinois and Wisconsin. So
wonderful. And do you know a little bit, I know that when I came to visit the main campus, they talked a little bit about in that history with the Kennedy family being there. Can you lend to that at all? I just think that's an interesting part of your history.
Yes, we do have a connection with the Kennedys. Can't go into a whole lot of detail with that, but just with HIPAA and that kind of thing. But yeah, we do have a connection with the Kennedys. And a rich history there. There's any number of books, and I believe even a movie coming out about some of that story. So,
oh, really? You guys are going to have to keep us in the loop on that, so that we can definitely tune in to see that. Now, your mission, the mission of St. Coletta overall, obviously over the years things have transitioned and changed. And currently, what is your mission as you guys move forward?
So I can take that. And our mission, and I'm going to actually read it off of my name tag so I don't miss any words, but believe me, it's imprinted into my head and embedded in my mind. So it's inspired by the Franciscan values of compassion, dignity, and respect. We support persons with developmental and other challenges to achieve their highest quality of life, personal growth, and spiritual awareness. And so that's the mission and principles that we abide by each and every day.
And really how that looks today is, one of the key things with the sisters was meeting that unmet need. So whether it was in education or, again, day voc programs or safe places to live and community integration, really the mission of the sisters, which is what is the foundation of our mission, is to find that unmet need. And as a result, today, St. Coletta's really is expanding in the areas of intergenerational services. So really looking at what kind of services we can provide for folks that are aging, as well as for the kids that are transitioning from school programs into maybe a work type setting. We've got some great programs, which I'm sure Elizabeth will talk about a little bit later. And so really it's looking at where can we offer our services where those services are currently underrepresented. And right now, a big area of that is in the Brookfield area. We actually recently did some expansion there. And so again, we're just always keeping an eye on where are there needs that aren't being met. And that really kind of falls in line with the mission that the sisters brought with them and again, is our foundation. So.
Yes, and my visit when I came to the main campus was such a wonderful one. I mean, I think I was there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it was a long time, but it was just so enjoyable to see so many of the staff, interacting and really meeting those values that you talked about, which in many different types of facilities and settings, sometimes you do see a lack of. So it was a wonderful experience. And I am so glad that you guys are looking at that expansion, because as you guys, as well as I know, being a mother of a young adult with different abilities, is that young adult population is lacking so much in having choices. There are so little choices. And so I am excited about that expansion as well. And I would like all of our viewers to just know a little bit more in detail about each program. So when we talk about, let's maybe start out with more of your day programs. Why don't we do that? So day program, a little bit about what day programming is, who is it kind of, a fit for, and how does yours break down over at St. Coletta?
Sure. I think really a day program, what that means overall is what is best for the individual so that they're not really limited in their day-to-day life. So we have a wide variety of day programs that really serve a wide variety of needs for individuals, because some individuals are very, very active. They might be on the younger end of the spectrum, or maybe just really need a lot of enrichment during the day. So we have programs that really support those needs.
Mm-hmm.
We have a number of individuals who might be more medically fragile. So we want to make sure that they're able to be safely accommodated, but still are obtaining those community integration services. They're still able to do the things that we all kind of take for granted, whether it be shopping or going to the movies or participating in sports and physical activity. Any number of things that, again, are things that we don't think about, but individuals might need some assistance in
Right.
participating in. We have a wide variety of programs that support individuals who might be looking to gain independence in their daily living skills. Perhaps they need some supports in obtaining employment, or maybe those soft skills that are holding them back from obtaining and maintaining employment. So we work with them on maybe balancing a checkbook, or how to create a budget, or how to really navigate those interpersonal differences that they might have with coworkers, that conflict resolution, how to be a friend, how to call and make an appointment, any number of things. So our goal is to really maintain independence from where people are. We want to meet people where they are now, and then help them with those goals as they move forward. And I think too, to kind of expand a little bit what my colleagues were talking about in terms of our mission and values, we support adults. So we want to make sure that we are allowing them to have the rights that adults have, while still encouraging them that they also have responsibilities, and kind of negotiating what the differences are between those two things. So again, with adults, we don't get to tell them what to do. We maintain their health and safety, and again, are maintaining their independence. So.
And can you break down those three kind of categories that you have within that day program? I know that when I was there, you have is it called Golden Options? That is for what age kind of grouping and setting. And then there's Excel, right?
Yep.
And there's the Genesis program. Can you break those down for me real quick?
Yes, absolutely. So our Golden Options program typically supports our senior population. So it's unique in meeting the needs of those individuals as they age. Perhaps they have some mental decline as far as their memory, Alzheimer's, and other dementias. So we want to make sure that we have a program that keeps them safe. We're able to be involved in some of their medical help that they might need. Perhaps their caregivers need a break during the day. So we have a number of individuals that we serve from the community, and then also individuals that we serve residentially. But again, making sure that we're keeping them healthy and safe during the day, but then also giving them the opportunity to access the community. So again, Golden Options is a little bit more for our senior population. Then we have our Excel program, which we cover a wide variety of needs. Some individuals have ambulation issues. They're not able to move as freely as perhaps other people. Perhaps they have some more significant cognitive disabilities. Again, we want to make sure that we're giving them as many options to access the community and gain new skills, maintain their independence. Again, meeting them where they are, finding out what their goals are based on what their unique abilities are. So it's very person-centered planning throughout all of our day programs. And then we also have our Genesis program, which unfortunately our colleague Bob was not able to join us today. But the Genesis program is that transition program for young adults who are leaving the school system and are transitioning to competitive employment within the community. So we're helping them with those soft skills, we're helping them with resume building, we're helping them maybe learn to set an alarm clock and get up and get ready. That might be something that they've never had to do before. So we really pride ourselves on programs that cover the full spectrum of an individual's needs through pretty much their full span of life.
And these programs, when we're talking about day programs, usually go is it 8 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon around those times?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
We do have the ability to support people earlier and later because we recognize that especially individuals who attend our programs, that they might be living either in their home environment or with another provider. We want to really make sure that we're able to meet their scheduling as well. So we do try to be as flexible as possible, but 8 to 2 is the core programming hours.
Okay. And then for all of your programming on a regular basis or a daily basis, if possible, do you guys go out into the community each and every day if possible, or is it a few times a week, or how does that work?
The goal is to have an outing daily that, depending on weather, certainly we want to make sure that people are safe. So if the weather is extremely hot or extremely cold, or if the conditions are just not safe, then we would make sure that we're doing programming within our facilities here. But definitely a daily participation in the community is the goal, because that's how we all function in the community. Very few of us spend the entire day at home or in one place. We want to really give individuals the opportunities that everybody else has.
Okay, and if you are local to one of your sites in that local area, do you guys provide transportation getting to your site and away from your site if you're within the county that your facility is in? Because I know that you guys have services in other counties, not just in one county.
We do. We have a very robust transportation program. I believe our fleet is approaching or has recently surpassed 100 vehicles. And those vehicles are of all types. So we're able to accommodate individuals with ambulatory issues or in wheelchairs. And we have individuals who travel from a pretty significant distance away, because in many cases we are the only provider that can meet their needs. So that is something that we're always willing to discuss with individuals and their families is how best to get them to us and then also home safely.
That transportation piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one more question. When we're talking about individuals that have some higher behavioral needs, I know that you guys have a site. Would that be your Illinois site that would have more of that one-on-one type of day programming? I don't know if you're the right person to ask that question to.
Nope, that is something that I can absolutely answer, because that is our Jefferson Excel program. We do serve a number of individuals who require those one-on-one supports, which is something that not very many other programs do. So we're really proud to be able to support individuals who need that level of support. So absolutely.
Is it just in Jefferson County, or is it at your other facility sites as well?
At this point, it is just in our Jefferson program, because it is our largest vocational program, but it's something that we're definitely looking to roll out to our other locations, because we certainly recognize that the need is there. And again, coming back to that unmet need.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all of that great info. I think the next thing, if we could maybe go to, would be those like the residential, all the
Sure.
different types of residential options.
Yeah, so we have a lot of residential options. So across the department, our residential department, we've got about 49 facilities that we have. We've got our largest area is in Jefferson. We've got about 34 facilities just in Jefferson.
Okay.
We've got another 6 in Waukesha and then 9 in Illinois. And we run everything from individual apartments where somebody might only get 2 or 3 hours a week for basic things like helping to manage money or medication or going grocery shopping, all the way up to 10-bed licensed facilities that have awake staff around the clock. So anything you can imagine in that scope we do. And so really kind of our philosophy and our mission again is to serve an unmet need. And so having that number of facilities really allows us, as people's needs change, to be able to move people to maybe environments that better fit their residential needs at the time, but still keep them within the community of friends and peers who become like a family to them. So again, we go, as folks are aging, if they're in an apartment setting, we've got programs that might go from an individual apartment to maybe a 4-bed AFH, which is an adult family home, which is licensed by the state. If their needs get become even greater, we might eventually get them to a home where they have awake staff or where, there's more a more medical focus in the home. So we really pride ourselves in being able to serve a lot of folks, a lot of different needs within our programs.
And I know that when I came for my tour, what I took away from that was when myself and Nicole were talking is that even if there are beds open sometimes, because I know for many facilities there are waiting lists. I'm assuming that you guys are the same in that sometimes you do have a wait for things, but you will never inappropriately put somebody within a facility or a housing unit that wouldn't be appropriate for them. I said appropriate too many times there. I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
You guys know exactly what I meant. I know.
Yeah. So one of the things that we do is one of our main goals when we're placing folks within one of the homes, that this is their home. It's not just, it's not a place for them to be put or a place for them to go, or, it's not an institution. This is their home. And you have to make sure that you've got folks in that home that can function like a family. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody gets along all the time, just like in your families, there might be, some conflict and that kind of thing. But really, we're looking for good peer matches. So, for example, if we've got a young adult who's very active and very independent, we would never put them in a facility with maybe more of an aging population with high medical needs and maybe dementia. Because again, it's not a good peer match. One of the challenges right now, however, is
you froze for a moment. Hopefully they'll come back in 1 second. It looks as if it might be a little bit longer of a duration. So I know she was talking about the residential options. I do want to make sure that we get to talk with them about the vocational options that they do offer. And I know Bob, who was supposed to be there, was going to be talking about that, but I know that some of the others were going to lend into that. So hopefully we could just hop on another live and be able to cover that, because that is one of the huge parts of this, is when we talk about, day program being available, for our young adults as well as our aging population to go to. For that young adult population, making sure that there are those vocational supports to get them some of the training that they need to be able to go out into the community and be employed. So let's see if they're back. Okay. I was praying on it. I was like, come on back, girls. Come on back.
Sorry about that. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
thought maybe I was talking too much and you cut me off.
No, you were completely gone, and I chatted a little bit with the folks while you guys were gone, and I'm happy that you returned. So the last thing that you were talking about, Liz, is you were stating that you would never place someone in a home that wouldn't be a good fit for them.
Right. Yeah, and that's based on the information that we get during the admissions process. So one of the things is, if there's families that, obviously families that are listening, advocates for people that are going to be looking for services. A lot of times family members can be a little bit nervous or afraid to give all the information because they're afraid that if we hear some service needs that maybe wouldn't be as flattering, if there's behavioral issues or medical issues. If that information is withheld during the admissions process, that could be a situation where we could potentially put somebody in a home and have them, start their life residentially in a place that really doesn't meet their needs. And so we really do ask that as a team effort, because for us to do the most person-centered planning as possible, we have to know as much. So there have been some times where, if we have a fit that maybe, maybe we have all the information and maybe, from everything that we see, our assessments, they're looking at the records, it's a really good fit, but when the individual moves in, it just doesn't work. The reality is, just like any of us, I could have a great conversation with Elizabeth. We could be great work friends, decide to live together and go, holy cow, I can't stand you. So it's one of those, we do the best we can to place folks with the information that we have. But there might be times when it's few and far between from my experience, and I've been at St. Coletta for about 17 years, and we do have an admissions team in which information is shared with all the team members, where we talk about the dynamics of the peer match, we talk about the person's needs, and we're very mindful of that placement. And so because of all that legwork that goes into all of the discussions ahead of time, the placements are usually very successful, at least initially, for sure. And then as people's needs change and as they age, then there's adjustments that needs to be made. One of the things that we've started doing the last couple of years is we'll offer respites. So rather than and it doesn't work for everybody. For some people, the best thing is, just to have them move right away. But for some of our individuals that might be a little bit nervous about moving in, or we're not quite sure about the fit, we will arrange for respite situations where maybe the individual who's looking to move in might come and visit for a weekend. They might come and visit for a day. They might come and have dinners and do activities and go on outings, just to see how everybody gets along. And that's one of the things that we believe in pretty strongly, just because you don't know on paper, if people are going to get along. You don't know. And again, we can sit here and do our assessments, but the main focus is the person. And, if we can, it's best for that person to meet who their housemates are going to be, who their staff are going to be, and see if they like it, So that's one of the things that we offer too, is respites. I mean, right now we have 2 respites. Yeah, we have 2 people in respite right now.
Yeah. Okay. And I think, I was just going to say, I think one of the frustrations that oftentimes people will express is that our admissions process does take some time. But we want, again, to really make sure that placement is going to be as successful as possible. We donate or devote a lot of leader resources to that admissions process. There are about 10 of us who are leaders within the organization, and we meet weekly for several hours because, again, we're very exhaustive in our process, because again, it's so important that situation is good for everybody, and that we're able to meet everyone's needs.
Right. And I think it does, as our young adults, bridge out of that high school or that school setting that they're in, and their families are trying to figure out. And as we know, there's limited options already there. Everyone has such different needs, and one fit isn't always right for the next. And so the only way, obviously, you guys haven't known our, young adults for years to know their personalities and to know it's going to be a fit, for that. Would you say that your length of wait for housing is extensively long, or would you say it's all very subject to change at any moment?
Yeah, it really kind of depends. So the couple things with the admissions process that we have some scenarios where we could assess somebody, we know they're a good fit, we have something available, and they could be in within a couple weeks. We do have a number of HUD houses, which again is the housing authority that we partner with. In that case, there's a whole slew of separate paperwork that we really rely on the guardians to help fill out. And that can sometimes be a 3-month process because there's so much verification of finances and, for qualification purposes.
And it goes out to other entities, and we wait for that to come back.
Right.
So not only that.
Yeah, so it really just depends on the person's situation. We have had situations as well where we know that we might have a vacancy coming available, and that person might be willing to wait for that because that's where they want to be. So that could extend it a little bit depending on when that would actually come up. So it really just depends. Our admissions process can really take anywhere from a couple weeks all the way to a couple months, just depending. And then the other piece is there's always rate negotiations in with that as well. So working with the managed care organizations, if you're publicly funded, to come to an agreed upon rate for services.
Now, for housing and living situations, do you guys have many or at least take individuals from other states?
Yes.
So if the families are looking to either just move their loved one because there's nothing available, because as we spoke about, and I can't reiterate this enough, there is not a lot available.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why having you guys on to give people some hope that there are places that are still there, but there's not a ton. So if someone's moving from out of state, if that is an option?
Yeah, so a couple of things. We do have a number of folks that do come to us and participate in both residential and day programs from out of state. Again, it's really kind of it depends on the state the person's coming from. It depends on a lot of things. And again, to kind of get into the rate conversation, are they private pay or are they publicly funded? Now, a lot of states are no longer going to allow their funding to leave their state. So in that case, for example, I think the best, in Illinois, we've got a couple of folks from Illinois. And as of, I'd say probably a couple of years ago, we had people that were funded through the state of Illinois that within this couple of years, the state of Illinois no longer wanted the state funds to go to another state. And so then it was conversations and discussions about, does that person then get on Wisconsin funding, or do they maybe look at services back in Illinois? So again, it's really, we have a ton of information and experience in that, but it really depends on your state and your circumstance and all that. But yeah, we do have a number of people from multiple states across the country that we serve.
Okay. Now, thank you so much for that, Liz. When we talk about the day programs, I know Bob was not day programs, I'm so sorry, the vocational programs and like the Genesis program a little bit more, and those opportunities that are available there, and work employment, working with the DVR and those types of things. Who might speak to that on the panel here?
I can take the lead, and then I think all of us are, certainly have
plug in some stuff.
We all work really collaboratively here, so we're all kind of in each other's.
We're all in each other's business all the time.
That's good.
Some of us more than others.
So sure, I can. I'll take a stab at it, and then my colleagues will help as well.
Okay, so when you're talking about that supportive and community employment and program, I know that some of that starts with that Excel program, correct, that you guys have started. And that's just been going on is that about 2 years now? How long has the Excel program been around?
The Excel program has been around for decades. The Genesis program,
the Genesis program.
Yep. The Genesis program is about 2 years old. Yep. So it's relatively new. Again, it really comes from that unmet need, and actually the genesis of the Genesis program came from our president, and he was on a survey for another organization and saw how they had developed a program that was allowing young individuals to gain necessary skills and actually it was a program that was providing machining for parts for Boeing, and he was so taken with that and thought that was such a really great experience for everybody that had such a really wonderful relationship with both the manufacturer and again with Boeing and the individuals. So he really wanted to be able to recreate something here. So the Genesis program was born from that. And again, it's a program for those younger transitioning individuals who maybe have completed high school, know that they're not really ready for college or even necessarily a vocational type of school setting, really might need some help with those soft skills. Again, relating to coworkers, being on time, what the types of things that are needed to be successful in that work environment, and then also might not have any idea how to compose a resume, might not know how to go and find a job. So the Genesis program was developed to meet those needs. And there's a Genesis 1 and a Genesis 2. The Genesis 1 program was developed to really kind of start people out from square one, find out what their job readiness skills are, and in many cases we found that they were quite minimal. So we were starting from a position where, again, individuals needed to know how to get up on time, how much time it takes them to get ready, how long it takes to get transportation to their job site, how to be on time, how to clock in, and then how to perform their work duties. The Genesis 2 program is for individuals who might already have a good basis in those skills, or they've completed the Genesis 1 program. So in something like that, they're working on a resume. They're able to articulate what they might have done at previous jobs, maybe how some kind of finer points on conducting themselves in an interview, and then maybe taking on a job that requires less supervision or coaching. So again, it really covers a lot of ground in terms of people who are seeking that employment. And maybe it's somebody who is able to be really independent in a job site, or maybe it's somebody who does need some coaching, does need that job coach support, but we're really able to meet those wide variety of needs.
I just wanted to follow and say that not only that we have the Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, but Bob oversees what we call our VST program, which is our vocational skills training program, which is, that program that's where people have certain skills, but they need that staffing support to complete a skill. And most of our folks in our VST program do a lot of housekeeping duties around this area, and it's really specific to the Jefferson location. Okay. In addition to that, there's the Access program, and Access have folks out in the community. We work with DVR, but we have folks out in the community that might need that intermittent job coaching support. So those are there are different steps and different layers of what Bob oversees with our folks on that end.
And that kind of goes to our theme of trying to serve people throughout their lifespan, so at whatever stage of employment they're at, whatever stage of social interaction, as far as, day programming, we've really tried to create programs that run that spectrum, that people can transition as needed. So again, we can provide as person-centered of an opportunity as possible. One of the things that we definitely, with Genesis and talking, we've been into more school settings to kind of talk with families and with opening. We're in Brookfield now. We're partnering with Fairview South, where we've now opened up Excel and Genesis and Golden Options there in the Brookfield, Wisconsin area. One of the things that we definitely learned from families as we were looking to do that, for those that don't know, Fairview South is a school. It's in the Elmbrook school system, and it's a school for folks with that have some challenges and
it's a self-contained school for different abilities.
Yeah, self-contained elementary.
Perfect. Yeah. And one of the things in talking with those families that really kind of came to light is, as folks are transitioning from child to adult, as far as the long-term care service goes, they're really going from an entitlement program to an eligibility program. And so what that means is, where when you're a child, you're entitled to, speech therapy, massage therapy, or all these different things. Once you hit adulthood, then all of a sudden you have to be eligible for services. And so families are finding that, okay, all of a sudden all those things that we depended on are gone. They're just gone. And so one of the things that we're trying to do, and again, in that vein of meeting that unmet need, is kind of helping to bridge that gap for families that are going through that transition. So talking about, here are the different programming options. We advocate very, very strongly for services when they need to be maintained within the systems, and we're pretty good at, we're definitely not experts on all of the school age programs, but we really are pretty knowledgeable of the eligibility programs and how to get what you need. And where the services are not provided through the funding sources, we work really hard to create them and try to offer them in some capacity so people don't lose their skills such as reading, writing, math, their independent living skills once they become adults.
Yes, and Elizabeth, I speak to that so much, actually. I mean, I definitely voiced that when I was there, that is something that really, I think parents need to be even more aware of earlier on in their child's education, when they're around maybe 13, 14 years old, that when you become 21 and you age out of that program, that it is more eligibility and your resources are so limited, and you've gone from 40 hours a week of having this intensive great care where you could hold somebody to the fire for their actions with an IEP to no longer having that, as well as having to be eligible for different programming. Now, when I spoke with Bob, and I just want to make sure this is accurate, what I like that I heard with the Genesis program is it definitely has different perimeters than, let's say, a life college. Because I know that so many life colleges are popping up now, though what I think some people fail to realize is that within those life colleges, they kind of have perimeters of levels you have to meet within your ability for ADLs, your ability, cognitively, developmentally, where your, functional scholastic abilities are. And so with the Genesis program, I felt like in talking with Bob that those definitely meet a much wider spectrum of needs. Would I be accurate in saying that?
Absolutely. I think what makes the Genesis program really unique is that we are able to accommodate, again, that really broad range of skills and interests. And what we have found and what we've kind of developed is there are oftentimes people who might make a combination of our different programs. Maybe they're interested in a job in the community, but maybe aren't entirely sure how that's gonna work, or maybe aren't entirely committed to that. So it might be a situation where they would attend Genesis part-time and then attend one of our other day programs part-time. The other day programs more for that social interaction, again, just kind of working together with peers and gaining some of those kind of social interaction skills, and then maybe would participate in Genesis to get, again, those kind of more specific job readiness skills. We also have the ability to quite easily transition people from one program to the other. So if somebody maybe starts in Excel but says, hey, I really would like to get a job in the community, that's something I think I'm ready for, it's very, very simple for them to transition to the Genesis program, and vice versa. If someone thinks that they might want a job in the community but really decides that ultimately that's not something that is of interest to them or they're not ready for, then we easily move them to another program that's going to better suit their needs. So, again, we have, our different programs are different in that they support different needs and have different expectations, but we all work together and we have a really collaborative approach because it's all that person-centered programming. It's all what makes that individual's day most fulfilled.
One of the nice things with Genesis, is when the program started, we had, I think the first few individuals, nobody had any mobility challenges. But then as we've had more folks interested in the program with more mobility challenges, where they required the use of wheelchairs or they required assistance with going to the bathroom, it's kind of the way that we operate is if somebody's cognitively able to work and is interested in continued education and learning, let's not have an obstacle to that be that they rely on the use of a wheelchair. And so we have worked to make sure that we've got staff available to help with those needs. And then we have to, and it's a new realm for us too. How do we make sure that these folks, if they are gonna end up with competitive employment in the community, how do we make sure that that we're advocating for whatever they need to be able to have those needs also met when they're out in the community? Because that is another challenge, with working with employers and things, figuring out how those needs also get met. And so a big part of our role is to be that advocate and figure out how do we partner with organizations and companies where our people might work to make sure that their limitations don't limit them from being able to have gainful employment.
Right, right. Now, if folks are listening to this, they're watching it on the replay, they're watching it now, and they want to take action, they want to learn more about the housing opportunities, they want to learn more about Genesis or Excel or locations that you have, what is the best way, best contact to, get a hold of you guys and get their questions answered?
Sure. I would always direct people to our website because I think that has the most comprehensive way of getting a hold of us. I believe all of our email addresses are on the website. If not, we're a large organization that functions as a very small organization, and that we are all so interconnected. So if somebody calls Nicole and it's a question that is really more in the realm of Liz Brzeski, with it, that call is going to get where it needs to go. So just reach out. We're here. We love visitors. We love having you come to tour. We would certainly encourage anybody to come for a tour. We're always happy to do that. Or call us or email us, and if we can answer your question, we'll find the person who can.
I was going to add to that is that, so Liz is the director of our residential program. Liz is our director of day programs. I am the director of case management. And we do have a go-to person, which is Geraldine Dorn as well. And I believe her information is also on the website. And she too would route contacts where they need to be. So
okay, to get it into the right hands for that. And you guys, I know that not everybody is in Wisconsin who is listening to this today, but if you are in Wisconsin, I know that you guys are having an open house coming up. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So that will be at we have actually two. We have one this Friday, which is at our new intergenerational care center in Brookfield that we talked about earlier. It's located on the Fairview South School campus. And then we also have a holiday open house, which is going to be December 1st at our Jefferson location. So that will be if you need to get your holiday shopping done, or you want to, I believe we're having some foster or dogs to be adopted here. I know, puppy, fantastic. So that's going to be our open house and holiday bazaar. So I believe all of that is on our Facebook site. So if you have not liked us on Facebook, I'm going to put a plug for that because you can learn a lot of really great information, and we would love to see you at one of our upcoming events.
And I will drop below, I have the flyer for the open house. If you guys have a flyer for that, let's drop that below this live so it kind of lives in there. Or if there's any very important links or anything like that, we can also drop this below so that people can, easily access as well. And your Facebook, it will be linked to it too, so they can hop right over to your Facebook page and message you guys that way. Is there anything else that I missed? Anything you guys want to leave me with today, or the audience with today, that we may have not covered, or just some final thoughts?
If I can, I would have Nicole talk about her role, because I think what she does is very unique amongst other providers.
Okay, yeah, and I wasn't sure if you guys were bridged together, the two of you talking about, so that's great. Take it away, Nicole. Take it away.
Well, my area is case management, and so from kiddos moving from the school system with an IEP, and actually transfers into an ISP, so an individual service plan, in the adult system. And at St. Coletta, we actually tease that particular emphasis out from the residential area to really pay focus with the social workers on creating that plan for services. And so that's kind of why I work closely with my colleagues here on my left to just, coordinate what is that service for that client? What does that look like for that person? And we keep it person-centered. So that's pretty much.
So you're like the captain of the ship.
I like to call it the director. Well, behind the scenes, next take, that kind of thing. But yeah.
Okay, just to make sure that everything is coordinated together and everyone is talking together and all of that. Right. So if somebody were to be working with you guys, obviously, or they have lots of pieces of the puzzle, Nicole, are you the first person that they come to then? if they have like lots, like if they're thinking about looking for housing for their young adult or getting into, you know, a program, but they have lots of different pieces of their puzzle, maybe behavioral needs and, you know, medical needs and whatnot. Are you that person to put those pieces together?
You know, because we work so well collaboratively, we actually have our admissions team. And so the first go-to person with our admissions would be the director of admissions, which is Geraldine Dorn.
Okay.
She brings that information to us, and we look at that collaboratively. But when it comes to different expertise on like behavioral components and dementia and all of that, then I give, you know, my consultation on that.
Okay. Got it.
So Geraldine Dorn is, I would say, is our contact person for admissions.
Okay. And I think I'll drop her email below as well, so people have
Once a person is actually admitted to St. Coletta as one of the programs, then Nicole and her team really, or one of our other case coordinator teams, we've got a group in Illinois as well.
Yep.
Nicole's got a line to all of those folks. Then they kind of become the coordinator of all the services once somebody actually is with us. So.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Any other final thoughts? I don't want to miss anything because I know we had a moment of freezing. We've come back. The Lord wanted this to happen today. So
I think, I mean, one of the things I would just say is, you know, the spectrum of services provided within the organization is so great and we've had, you know, we always say that we've seen it all. I've been here 12 years. Nicole's been here 17. Liz has been here 7 years. Every day we learn that we haven't seen it all, but we've got a lot of expertise within the organization. And one of the things that we really try to do is, even if the services that we offer might not meet the needs of somebody, we like to be a reference and a referral source. So if we know that maybe there's a service somebody needs that we wouldn't be the best at providing, we're very good at and like to be able to say, you might want to try this place, or, you know, try that. The other thing is, and one of the biggest things that I would really advise to any families with younger children that they're looking at transitioning, Tammy, as you had mentioned, starting at 13 or 14, it's so important to start having the conversations early of what the plan is. What do you want for your loved one? What do they want? Because one of the most challenging things that we've seen, I think, in our tenure is when people don't have that conversation, and then they just feel like they're left out in the dark.
And then a crisis hits.
Right.
And then they have to find, you know, placement.
Right. And so one of the things that, you know, kind of the analogy we put towards it is, you know, make sure that you know, just as you would plan for college or work for any of your other children, make sure you're doing the same thing for a child that maybe has some special needs.
Right.
Because ultimately one of the saddest things that we see is when there's a family situation where maybe the child is now in their 50s, parents are now in their 60s or 70s, and now it's a crisis situation and we can no longer physically care for them. And a transition at 50 for somebody is way harder than a transition at 18, 19, 20. So, and I guess what I would just offer is, we love what we do. We love the field. And if there's any questions, even if you're not looking for services, we'd love to be a resource to people.
Yep, absolutely.
I love that. And I loved my visit with you guys. And I'm so happy that you guys spent the last hour with us here this morning and sharing. And it is such a need. And I think we all need to be using our voice and advocating more for people finding out sooner and working on it sooner. Because I think that parents sometimes get frustrated in the sense that they start digging through and realizing that once their young adult is out of school, there isn't many opportunities. And then they just kind of give up. They're just kind of like, okay, we're going to stay home. But there does come a point where you as a parent become an elderly or ill, and you may not be able to care for your child anymore who now is an adult. And so that's not the time to try to find somewhere to be or programming. So happy that you guys are available and accessible, regardless whether that be for a resource or for meeting the needs of our community. So I thank you ladies very, very much for spending this Wednesday morning with us. And if you guys want any more information about St. Coletta, I will be dropping all of the information below this, as well if you would like any more information about the services we offer over here at the On Air Advocate. You can go to www.onairadvocate.com and all of the services are right there, as well as if you would like to become a member of our private Facebook group, you can just go to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button and that says visit group, and you will be requested into the community. So on that note, you guys have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.